It is 4 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Please stand to sing O Canada. Please be seated. I'll ask the clerk for the roll call.
Mayor Sue Patterson,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Warren Dickert,
Present.
Councillor Harold Fleet,
Present.
Councillor Dave Hawking,
President.
Councillor Carol Hudson,
Present.
Councillor Brandon Cable has not joined us yet. Councillor Susan Sackle,
Present.
Thank you, Vicky. I'll begin with the land acknowledgement. As we work toward reconciliation with Indigenous people, we begin our meeting today by respectfully acknowledging that we are situated on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, the people of Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. And further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, now known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. So welcome to our regular council meeting for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Good afternoon, council, staff, guests, the viewing public, and the media. Council, does anyone have a disclosure of pecuniary interest or a conflict of interest? Seeing none, of course, if one should arise during the meeting, you may declare it then. Item 5, we do not have any additions or deletions, so we'll move right on to our delegations. And this afternoon, we have Grey Bruce VON with us. We have Beverly Mulder and Amanda Tesloff. Welcome, ladies, to speak about their volunteer program with VON and all the services they offer. The floor is yours.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you told me that. All right, I'll just sign in. All right. Well, thank you for welcoming us and to share our VON story. It's pretty amazing. My name is Beverly Mulder. I'm the volunteer program coordinator with VON Grey Bruce. And
my name is Amanda Tetzloff. I am one of the SMART coordinators with VON Grey Bruce, and I've previously also worked in our bereavement program.
so I just wanted to, next slide. I just wanted to share a little bit of our history with you. So VON, of course, is the Victoria Order of Nurses. We changed to use the acronym when we developed the community support services. And but we're still known as the Victoria Order of Nurses. And that was 126 years ago that we did that. So, and we were developed by the then Governor General. His wife was given the task by Queen Victoria to form a nursing service that could visit those in the rural community so that they would have the same access as urban centers. Yes. So our goal is and always has been to deliver quality healthcare to those in need, no matter where they live. And this again holds true today. Oh, you're a little, yeah, that's all right. It holds true today because of course, everyone's struggling in the rural communities. I saw the lineup. Amanda showed me the lineup of the people in Hanover that were looking for healthcare. Walkerton, sorry, Walkerton. Yeah, VON operations are in part driven by government mandate to ensure access to home and community care for all Ontarians. But again, we're still in the process of doing that. We were the first to offer wellness baby clinics, prenatal care, and nursing services to those in the community. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Next slide. My mistake. Okay, we have a very colorful history, starting with the typhoid epidemic during the Klondike Gold Rush. 4 nurses were sent up there to manage that. And we were in World War I, the Halifax explosion of 1917, the 1928 influenza epidemic, and the Great Depression, World War II, and of course, most recently, the COVID epidemic. Or pandemic. So all of our programs are staffed by healthcare workers and volunteers. So our volunteers are a critical part of the VON story, and they're crucial, providing the level of personal support that we need in order for our programs to thrive within the communities. We have 223 incredible volunteers in the Grey Bruce area that support our community support service programs. And it's imperative that we attract more volunteers so we can grow those programs and offer our services to more and more people within the community. So we have the assisted living program, which is offered to people by referral through Ontario Health at Home. It's for daily personal care, such by a personal support worker, such as medication reminders, meal preparation, bathing. It operates as a hub and spoke model. So let's say our building in Wyerton or Owen Sound would be the hub. And then the spoke would be going out, the PSWs going out into the community. We like to keep it very local because of course we don't want the PSWs to have to drive too far because that limits the opportunities for others to have that care. So, and I can share with you that we're currently in the process of looking to expand programs in Durham, Hanover, and Walkerton regions. So more information is coming. We're just at the beginning stages, but there's hope. Right? No, that's. Yeah.
We currently also offer our SMART exercise program. So SMART stands for Seniors Maintaining Active Roles Together. This program is a free hour-long exercise and falls prevention class, specifically geared towards seniors or older adults living in the community. Those classes are typically offered twice per week, either on Zoom or in person, all throughout Grey Bruce and at various skill levels. So it's typically open to adults who are over the age of 55, but also open to those who are living with a disability are also able to attend. Those classes are facilitated by trained volunteers and paid fitness instructors. Currently, we have 106 volunteers that bring this program to our Grey Bruce communities with 383 classes a month. We currently have 139 people on the wait list. So hopefully there's opportunities for us to be able to open up more classes and clear off those wait lists. But of course, we need volunteers to be able to do that, to teach those classes. All of our exercise programs programming can change as, an individual's skill level increases, which allows those participants to improve and challenge themselves throughout the program.
Our hospice palliative care services is a visiting hospice program. So if someone has made the decision to be at home until they pass away, then our volunteer will go in and visit that person. Now, those volunteers are trained. They have the HPCO fundamentals training, which is a 13-module training through Hospice Palliative Care Ontario. It takes about 30 hours to complete. They also do VON e-learning modules, and they have education days that are offered 2 times a year through VON, and they have elective dementia training as well. So that volunteer that is visiting someone in their home can offer conversation or a quiet visit. They can offer caregiver respite, and they can offer journaling. A lot of palliative people that are palliative like to do journaling, so it's something to leave behind, like a legacy project. So, yeah. We also, we're a community partner with Huron Shores Hospice in Tiverton. It's a 2-bed hospice program. So what we do is we support them in the recruitment and orientation of volunteers. As I said, there's a 2-bed, so the volunteers would support a guest that is a resident there and their family. So, and the support is offered 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the volunteers take those 4-hour shifts to be there for someone. Okay.
Alongside our hospice palliative care, we also offer bereavement support to anyone in the community who has experienced the death of a loved one. It has to be a person, unfortunately, so we don't provide support for those who have experienced the loss of a home or the loss of a pet. And we currently have had to make the decision to kind of shorten that time frame of support that individual has to have experienced that loss within the last 2 years, just because of the high demand of our program. So it's a really great program, but of course, if we had some more volunteers, the hope will be we could open up that support for a little bit longer of a time frame. That support is offered all throughout Grey Bruce as well in a variety of different methods. So it could be Zoom. That one-on-one support is offered by our trained volunteers as well. They also take some relevant training through Hospice Palliative Care Ontario. That one-on-one support could also be in person or over the phone. And we also offer various support groups. So our formal 8-week bereavement support groups, mainly held here in Hanover and in Owen Sound, as well as some informal groups like some drop-in groups monthly. And just like our hospice palliative services, there is no fee for that service. And much like a lot of our other community support services, people can self-refer for that program. And then also pretty recently, we have expanded that bereavement support to now include children. So the program is formally called Kids Circle, which is grief support for children. So just like any of our other community support services, there is that pre-registration that is required, but it's mainly targeted towards children who are between the ages of 4 to 11 years of age who have experienced the death of a close family member as well. So this group specifically is an 8-week program. So it's very structured and includes age-appropriate bereavement support activities to help the child grieve and helps with some of that education process of their grief journey. So the goal is really to foster a greater understanding of the concept of grief for children and help set them up with the tools they need for healthy grieving moving forward. And then we also have our caregiver support program. So our caregiver support program, of course, is geared towards those who are in a caregiving capacity or a caregiving role, whether that be for a family member or a friend who are looking for support for themselves. So the program is really based on offering solutions and information regarding caregiver stress, burnout, self-care, some meditation and mindfulness technique workshops, as well as accessing additional resources. So the main services that are provided through our caregiver support program are one-on-one support. We also offer lots of educational workshops and webinars throughout the years. Powerful tools for caregivers is one of them, as well as some educational and supportive newsletters. And there has been times where if the caregiver is supporting someone who is palliative, we're able to kind of partner with our hospice and palliative care volunteers so that maybe the caregiver can get out, get some groceries, or go to an appointment for themselves if they need to. So just like those programs, there's also no fee for that service. And then our Home at Last program, also known as HAL, is kind of like a settling in service for people who are 55 plus or adults living with complex needs who are coming home from the hospital. So we are very fortunate at VON Grey Bruce to have our own VON transportation van. So it's very accessible. We have an attendant who then comes, picks the person up from the hospital. We'll take them home, help with any unpacking, groceries, medication pickup, and do kind of like a home safety check when they do get home. So when they are referred to us, they're driven home by that attendant, anything they might need in that accessible van. And those referrals are also made by Ontario Health at Home or by a healthcare provider, but they can also refer themselves. So if they've used it in the past and would like to use it again, they can do the sort of self-referral form as well. And there's also no fee for using our Home at Last program also.
Okay, I think COVID brought to our attention what loneliness can do. So I've included this quote by an unknown author, just as a food for thought. I'm just going to read it to you. The problem of loneliness and social isolation is increasingly well recognized as a societal ill, but maddeningly difficult to address. What can we do to address a problem that has roots that are not just economic, but cultural in nature, and that has downstream implications that include an undeniable effect on health? So that is what our community support services try to address, is that loneliness within the community for seniors as well. You want to do this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
A few more of our programs. We have telephone reassurance and Kool-Aid. So telephone reassurance is also a volunteer-based program. It's kind of like a security checks program. So if there's an older adult who may be living alone, doesn't have anybody to check on them to see if they're okay, volunteers provide a phone call either on a daily or weekly basis. It's totally up to the client on how many times per week that call happens, but that call happens Monday through Friday. So it is meant to be a check-in. The volunteer simply checks kind of like a on the phone wellness check. And we do have an escalation process in place if those clients don't answer the phone, if they haven't told us where they will be otherwise. And then our Kool-Aid program is a health information card that is completed by our clients. They are kept on the fridge in the client's home. And in the event of a 911 call, our first responders are aware of this program, so they can access the card and find any relevant medical information. So allergies, things like that. So that's readily accessible to the first responders. And then it is updated every 3 months by a check-in call, also done by one of our volunteers, which is just an added layer of security for our clients. And both of those programs are also free.
We also have an inter-RIDE community health assessment. So RIDE Chai refers to the Inter-Rye Community Health Assessment, and it's a comprehensive standardized assessment tool used to identify the support needs of adults living in the community. And that helps to prevent or stabilize function or health decline. So, and once our person visits them, our coordinator, and so she would go and visit them in their home, and she would ask just their history and what their interests are. And from that, she would be able to see what their needs are. And she could also refer to different community support programs in order to keep the person healthy and living in their own home. And yeah, so the assessment builds a full picture of that individual person as well. And of course, then we have the home care nursing services, which everyone's familiar with. So it's able to offer care to more individuals with the clinics, just because of our rural geography in Grey Bruce. So the Ontario Health at Home identifies people that are able to attend the clinics, and then they would attend the clinic at a set time. So it's not a walk-in clinic, it's a set appointment time, and then the nurse would see them. And so for those that aren't able to attend the clinic, we have the home visit support through a nurse. We have just opened in Saugeen Shores, or well, we've expanded really. So in Port Elgin, there's a new VON nurse practitioner-led clinic. We've added 2 nurse practitioners. We're adding a social worker and an RN as well. And it's open Monday to Friday. It's to support those within the community or support those that are visiting during the season. And it's just expanding the services that are offered. So that's just been opened. And yeah, that's, so it's Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and it's right in Port Elgin. So, and that's about it. So we just have some contact information here, but we'd like to thank you for sharing your time and allowing us to share what VON offers. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Thank you. Are there comments or questions? Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Great presentation. Thank you very much, ladies. You have a lot of really wonderful programs, and I'm just going to comment on how successful the Kool-Aid program is. I do work with seniors, and I have seen a number of those forms on people's fridges, and the paramedics seem to really appreciate that as well. Just one question, the Home at Last program, how far ahead does somebody need to book that? Because you know they like to get you out of the hospital pretty quick. So how far ahead does that have to be set up, or does it get set up the day of their leaving?
You want to answer?
Yeah, great question. As long as the attendant is available, she can take it the same day. But I would think 24 hours would probably be a good rule of thumb. Like I said, as long as she's not already going somewhere and she's able to make it there and back in a good chunk of time, she will take it.
Thank you. And your smart exercise classes are fabulous, by the way.
Thank you.
Right, right. Other comments or questions? Councillor Fleet.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Amanda and Beverly, for this presentation. It's you guys do great things in our area, and thank you. Just, touching on, I'm looking at page 11, the community hubs, Owen Sound, Meaford, Thornbury, Wyerton, Port Elgin, Southampton, Kincardine. You had mentioned possibly Durham, Hanover. Are you talking a hub? Because I feel a community the size of Hanover in our area, a hub could be really addition to our healthcare system here in Hanover. I just wonder if you could touch on that.
Yeah, so that's for the assisted living services. Yeah, I believe we're looking at a building within Hanover that's supportive housing. And that's how that's run in the other communities that we service as well. So in Owen Sound, we have St. Francis Place and 14th Street. And our PSWs have an office there. and then they visit the people within the building, and then they go out to the spoke. Mhm.
I feel it's really important to our town of Hanover in the area, you know, to have this service available for people needing assistance in their homes or wherever. So I think it's very important to have you guys here, and I know you are, but I think it'd be nice to have you here in some sort of building or whatever. So
Oh, it's in the works.
thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, a couple of things. First of all, I want to say this stemmed from the invitation I received from Beverly to attend the 30th anniversary for VON Smart Exercise last year in October at Sobel Beach. I was thoroughly impressed with the amount of people attending and exercising at the same time, and all the information I learned about your programs and services. And I thought it was important to bring this to our council, so it will be shared with our residents. I also want to mention on June 17th, we have a volunteer fair here at the P&H Center, and it may be an opportunity for VON to participate, and some volunteers may sign up. So
I'm already there.
thank you.
Brendan
Perfect.
sent me the invite.
Oh, great, great. So, and just to finalize, I want to say your programs not only support individuals and families, but also help to complete that circle of care for healthcare so that people can remain healthy and supported at home. So thank you for all you do. Thanks. Okay, we're going to move on. So we do not have any business arising from the minutes, but item 8 is 8.1, our regular council meeting minutes from March the 17th. I need a mover and seconder for those. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Fleet. I only have one item to highlight because I think it's good for our residents if they missed out on that delegation that happened on physician retention and recruitment. It's good to hear it again. So Mark Rogan, the chair of the Hanover District Hospital Foundation, attended that evening and provided an update on the activities of the R&R committee. And he said recruitment endeavors have resulted in the addition of one physician, and the Joint Physician Recruitment Committee will be engaging a professional recruiting firm to assist in hiring 2 additional doctors. The foundation is partnering with Queen's University to host a clerkship for 2 medical students, first-year medical students, and the foundation continues to offer Discovery Week, which provides first-year medical students the opportunity to spend 1 week at our hospital as a rural hospital. One of the ongoing struggles, Mr. Rogan noted, was the ability to locate suitable housing for the medical students. So that's just a little info on R&R. And no further highlights. Any questions, comments? I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. 8.2 is the special council meeting minutes from March the 17th. I need a mover and seconder for those. Councillor Sackel and Councillor Hawking. During that meeting, we received the results from the Youth Retention Focus Group, and we directed staff to obtain additional youth input and further investigate partnerships and stakeholder collaboration to advance the development of a youth retention plan with a focus on skill and workforce development. I'll call the question. If there's no hands raised, all in favor? That is carried. 8.3 is committee the whole meeting minutes. I need a mover and seconder for those. Councillor Hudson, Councillor Hawking. And a couple of items to highlight. We received the asset management plan levels of service report, and council approved the road infrastructure level of service alternative number 1 and baseline level of service for facility storage space for inclusion in the revised asset management plan. We also awarded to Wellington Construction Contractors, the Hanover wastewater treatment plant upgrade tender, which came in at $1.6 million. And that's it for highlights. Any questions, comments? I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. 8.4 is the special council meeting minutes from April 8th. I need a mover and seconder, Councillor Sackle and Deputy Mayor Dickert. And just one update, council endorsed the proposed official plan review project and formed the official plan review steering committee. All in favor of receiving those minutes? That is carried. Item 9 is staff reports. 9.1 is report PB 0425. The subject is the new police station design and contract administration services RFP. It's from Andrew Wilkin, our Director of Building and Planning, and also our CBO, and I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor. Councillor Hawking and Councillor Fleet. Andrew?
Thank you, Your Worship. Title didn't seem that long when it was being typed out. In November of this past year, Council was provided a comprehensive report and project charter for the new Hanover Police Station by way of PB 26-24. Through that charter that Council approved was essentially the direction for the committee to form and essentially provide a new police station at the old fire hall property in Hanover. Throughout that charter, there are some milestones that come to council for their decisions to be made. This is one of them here tonight. On February 6, 2025, the request for proposal for the design and contract admin services for the new Hanover Police Station was released. It was released on Bid and Go, and it was released on the Town of Hanover website. 11 submissions from architectural firms were ultimately received at its closing time on March the 12th at 2 p.m. A list of those firms are below for your review today. Throughout the scoring, can be graded different ways for different projects. This had a cumulative score out of 100 and was weighted based on each firm's project approach, proposal completeness, past projects, references, as well as the financial aspect of those. Within the chart, I only provide the exact financial proposal portion because obviously the financial piece is an important piece. However, with that said, each let's call it each area is scored and shaded up to a different score. Blue up to 70, scored 70 or below. Peach 71 to 85, and green was 85 to 100. Within the price proposals, we asked for a percentage for the contract administrative portion, which is typical. So we used a dollar figure of $8 million so that we could come up with essentially the final numbers. The submissions were reviewed by the project team, which had appointed a subgroup. That subgroup was myself, Chief of Police Chris Knoll, who's here tonight, and the Deputy CBO Jordan Whitmore. We assessed them separately, came together, and we were able to shortlist through that subcommittee group to a final two noted herein. While I don't list what two they are, there are two that are shaded green, which we conducted interviews with those final two low bids. Through those interview processes, it became very clear and very evident which one was a better option for us for this typical project. And that was presented to the full steering committee, which approved and agreed with the subgroup's selection. With all that said, it is recommended that the town enter into a contract with the Venton Group Ltd. To complete the design and contract admin for the new Hanover Police Station. Also known as Plus VG Architects, they clearly identified their understanding of the town's needs, the risks of such a project, the importance of our budget specifically, They provided an adequate financial proposal when you took the value of the experience that they provided to the cost that they provided. The firm also recently was involved in our civic theater upgrade. They were also many years ago involved in our clock tower project, as well as the original civic center rework project some 20 years ago. So they understood our community, they understood what we were after, and they exemplified that through the interview process and their submittal. They also had some key experience with the OPP detachment work, modernization work in smaller communities such as ours and smaller than us, as well as larger ones. They have confirmed that they do have the ability to start this work immediately, and their proposal had a schedule being met of construction starting in April of 2026, which is what we proposed. So they do meet our schedule. The financial implications are the approved budget had a value of $125,600 in the year 2025. These costs were essentially for the design and engineering of the project itself. Through the breakdown of the RFP submitted by Venton Group, they proposed $127,720 for this phase. So an increase of about 1.7% is anticipated this year on that capital project. However, we would expect that $2,000 or so be made up on the future year as the project design continues. Further project-related steps and financial considerations will be brought forward to council's consideration as outlined in the project charter previously mentioned. The link to the strategic plan is safe and reliable infrastructure, strong and vibrant economy, balanced growth, and open and responsible government. And the recommendation before you is that report PB 04-25, new police station, design and contract administrative services, RFP be received, that the project be awarded to the Venton Group Ltd., also known as Plus VG Architects, for a total cost of $512,000, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to enter into a contract with the Venton Group Ltd. For the completion of this work. And I or the chief is here with answer any questions you have.
Thank you. I'll open it up for questions or comments. Councillor Sackle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Andrew, for your report. Chief Knoll must be so excited. He's really serious tonight, but I know inside you're smiling, Chief Knoll. I was pleased to see that there were 11 consultant firms responding. That was really nice to see. I'm thrilled with everything you're talking about with previous experience, but I am curious. It says in the report that Wellington County OPP Detachment and St. Thomas Police Headquarters have used Venton Group. Did you have an opportunity to tour either of those facilities?
Thank you for the comment, and we are very excited with the Hanover Police. I can tell you that they're Ms. Sackle. So through you, Your Worship, I can say that the detachments out of Wellington County have all been completed by Plus VG. I have been actually a member of the Wellington County OPP and have toured and worked in all of those facilities in Wellington County, and they do excellent work. So even with the interview, when we interviewed this architect, pretty much off the top of his head, he was able to explain exactly what we needed in a building. So I think that goes a long way. And I think the other thing that's nice with this architect is this community has a previous experience with this firm, like Andrew said, with the clock tower, the theater rebuild, and the civic center. So I think they'll do a great job for us, and we're really excited to move forward. And I'm sorry for looking so serious. I can't help it.
No.
I wanted to put my hand up.
Other comments or questions? Councillor Fleet.
Thank you, Worship, and thank Sandra for that report. I'm looking at the range of price, like lowest of $292,000 to $995,000. There's quite a range in there, and I guess my question is, when we go out in the street and this report's released, taxpayers are gonna be asking why we didn't go, you know, they're gonna look at the difference in the two prices, you're like about 40% difference between 292 to 512,000. And you know, you explained it very well why, but I'm sure we will hear it on the street when this becomes public, when they see the differences in the tenders. So I just asking for some advice.
Sure. Through your worship, I would say that this is a very specialized build, and it became pretty clear through the proposals that we received. There is all legislative requirements needed for a police station build. The lower end of these tenders that came back had little to no experience with police stations. And the experience that would maybe be lacking on that consultant side, town staff didn't have the experience to make up for it either, nor should they. But none of us have built a police station before, and the chief included. So really is that feel for comfort, but respecting what that fee ultimately was. I will say from past experiences in this field prior to this role, the $512,000 is probably a little bit less than I thought it would be. Typically, a consultant fee ranges in about that 7 to 10% range of what the contract value is, would be a safe number, and I feel like that is right in the ballpark. The second scoring firm was a little bit higher than ultimately the firm that we're recommending here today, but their proposal was in that same range.
Councillor Cable online, and then Councillor Hawking. Councillor Cable?
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, Andrew, for the report. I'm very happy that the Benton Group is interested in coming back to support this project. I'm just wondering, in the RFP, what was outlined in terms of green energy standards that they're hoping to achieve?
Thank you, Your Worship. So the energy efficiency, we outlined in there that we're looking for value engineering and kind of outside of the box thinking. This wasn't asked to be designed as a net zero type of building, but we asked for the design features to include easily fit up items at a later date, and to provide along the way budgetary items for staff and council to consider to include at the time of the build if it is within budget. So while it's a little bit of a step back from how we worded it in the original fire hall charter that you were a member of, Councillor, we did still include and make it clear that we did want to include that sustainability piece, and to what extent it would be figured out through the design and kind of cost related matters.
Thank you. Is there another standard that is typically used? I think looking online at the VG Group's other projects, some of their police stations were LEED silver, right, or kind of falling into that LEED category. Is that a typical standard that's still used?
Through your worship, yeah, LEED is still used at times. A lot of the times you need to meet a LEED standard to get funding. LEED was a very big thing in terms of the long-term care facility requirements for funding. They did reference LEED. They have been a part of quite a few LEED projects, whether that be silver, gold, or platinum. So they did have definitely them and their sub-consultants had LEED experience. While we didn't ask for them, exactly to demonstrate that, they did have that in their CVs as they submitted them.
Excellent, thank you. And I'm sure that we're also looking at grant funding that's available through, green energy initiatives. So hopefully that's something that we can consider as we look at the cost to implement it, but also what grants might be there to support the funding.
As always. Okay, Councillor Hawking.
Yes, I just wanted to respond to Councillor Fleet's concern over the prices of the tender, and being a member of the subcommittee to look at it. Thank you, gentlemen, for handling this in a most professional way. From my experience in a number of community projects, you have to do a thorough investigation. And I just heard a comment saying, you know, you get what you pay for. If you want to go cheapo, you'll get a cheap product at the end. And I am fully confident in your assessment. We've got previous experiences here, so well done. And I know we're going to get a top-notch product in the end. So thank you.
Your comment, Sherry?
I was just going to add, I think the key for our residents and our listening public is the information that's under the box or the table. And that's very key, is that when we issue these types of RFPs, there's a very clear scoring process. And these submissions are then scored based on all those things listed there: project approach, proposal completeness, past performance, references, and financial proposals, scored separately by 3 different subcommittee members who jointly come together, and the 2 rose to the top of that rating system. So again, when the rating system is thorough, you can be assured as residents that staff are working diligently to make sure we are assessing the best applications that can do the best work for us.
Very good. Any further comments? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor of PB 0425? And Councillor Cable, you're in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous. Moving on, 9.2 is report CAO 1025. The subject is the Grey County Hybrid Planning Services Delivery Model. It's from Sherry Walden, CAO, and Andrew Wilkin, our Director of Building and Planning and CBO. And I need a mover and seconder to put this on the floor. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Fleet. Sherry?
Thank you, Your Worship. So I'll start and Andrew can add if he chooses to. So council is well aware that Grey County has been investigating and moving forward with various planning processes and recommended efficiencies at the county level. And there's been various suggestions at both at the municipal level as well, some of which we have acted on and implemented. But part of this project also was that county staff researched centralized planning, and they did so throughout 2024 with input from the regional CAO group, as well as the planning staff, et cetera. And various reports have been provided at the county level, of which councils had the opportunity to participate in at least a couple of meetings where that information was presented. Based on the feedback received initially, the county is, rather than a centralized planning model, looking at a hybrid service delivery model whereby the county would potentially provide planning services to some municipalities, and in other instances, the municipalities would choose to handle their own planning accordingly. As recent as March 21st, a number of you as council members participated in the county joint council meeting with respect to the hybrid planning services model update, and the report and recommendation was provided at that meeting and is attached to this report. So you've seen this now on 2 occasions with that update. We also received correspondence dated March 21st. It was in your last council or committee of the whole package, and where the county asked for municipalities to indicate by May 9th if in fact they were wishing to proceed with the hybrid planning services consideration. So from a staff perspective, we've had opportunity throughout to provide comment and feedback accordingly, as well as to have internal staff discussions with respect to our thoughts and recommendations on this at this point in time. Certainly, in addition to the items that the county have provided in their reports, we view that the following benefits presented to date are key for the town of Hanover. And that there's 4 areas, human resources, in-house expertise, enhanced service level, and maintain approval authority. So we will maintain approval authority for and be responsible for our official plan and comprehensive zoning bylaw. You will still make those same decisions that you currently do with respect to planning matters. From an enhanced service level, we view that the experience and knowledge of a group of planning staff, as noted, is an enhancement to our current service level. In-house expertise, we will have access and the expertise of and knowledge of senior planners and planning policy experts available to us. Now they're available to us more from a kind of information purposes. This may provide that opportunity for them to help guide and lead specific initiatives within our community. And the most crucial one is the human resources part. We feel that there'll be increased resiliency when there is a number of planning staff versus just a single staff member, which is our current example. And we believe that that will help us to attract and retain staff with the necessary planning, education, and credentials. And there'll be opportunity, and there'll be more opportunity for those staff members with respect to mentoring and career development, et cetera, et cetera. At this time, by committing in principle support, basically the town is indicating their commitment to participate in continued discussions on the hybrid planning service delivery model. It's not a commitment to join the hybrid model. There will be, the county has indicated and has been very clear that as the information is further developed, that there will be a process to opt in or opt out following information with respect to detailed financials, as well as the memorandum of understandings terms and clauses that would be developed. So again, there's no direct financial implications of this report. The recommendation is that the report CAO-10-25 Grey County Hybrid Planning Services Delivery Model be received, and that council support and communicate to Grey County their in-principle interest in continued discussions with respect to a hybrid planning service delivery model. I maybe ask Andrew if you've got anything you want to add. Andrew and I kind of jointly prepared this report, so.
Through your worship, no, not really, just other than answering some questions if there are any. As Sherry indicated, there's been a lot of information come out on this. There's still a lot that are missing to totally see the entire picture of to what it looks like. So the recommendation today is just to say just that, the ability to continue the discussion a little bit further.
Okay, questions, comments? Councillor Hawking.
This is an excellent report. What I'm amazed at, and I'd like sort of a guesstimate at the end of the day, the amount of time that people have, or employees have put into this to come up with a decision. I mean, when we talk about bureaucracies and how long it takes, and the time that you've spent and Sherry spent, and that we're just one municipality out of, is it 13? 9, okay, 9. It's amazing that it can't be, you know, sort of dovetail into a shorter mechanism, but it is what it is. But so on behalf of myself, thank you for your good work. And you must you gotta have a couple of cups of coffee a day to go through all this stuff. Anyway, thanks.
Further comments, questions? Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thanks to Sherry and Andrew for the report. You know, I've attended those virtual meetings, and you know, I think the county's been really good at getting answers. You know, there's been a lot of questions thrown at them. They've done a great job of getting the answers. I fully support continuing down this path to see what, you know, the financial implications will be at some point in time, and you know, making a further decision then. But I certainly support the recommendation and look forward to seeing what more information we get. Thank you.
I think it's very good. We can opt in or opt out. We're not locked into it. Councillor Hawking.
Thank you, Your Worship. I forgot to ask this question. Why did the municipality to the north of us opt out without even going through the process? Have they given you a reason?
Deputy Mayor, do you know? Sherry?
So the short answer is no. I don't know why. Other than that was a council vote very early in the process, I believe last fall, that they chose not to be involved. And that's their prerogative accordingly. So.
It just amazes me that a council would go to a negative comment without even hearing the many options. I mean, there's a lot of good material that has been researched and documented, and I like Deputy Mayor Dickard support moving forward and hearing exactly at the end of the day. And the nice thing is we can opt in and we can opt out. So there was nothing to lose other than staff timing to prepare everything. Thank you.
I can say all 9 municipalities did attend that virtual meeting, so they may be reconsidering, depending on, what happens with the next meeting. So, okay, and no questions or comments online, so I will call the question. All in favor of CAO 1025? That is carried. So item 9.3 is DCS 0525. The subject is the provincial gas tax allocation for public transit. It's from Chris Walker, our Director of Corporate Services and Treasurer. I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor. Councillor Sackle and Councillor Hudson. Chris?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is something that we do on a yearly basis as the host municipality for SMART, Saugeen Mobility and Regional Transit, not to confuse it with the VON SMART that was presented tonight. As the host municipality, we have to pass a bylaw to accept the agreement for the provincial gas tax funding. This funding covers the period from April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. I contacted them twice or 3 times already in this past fiscal period for them wondering where this was coming. And they said, you'll get it in time before the March 31st date. As we noted, the mayor received it April 1st, dated March 31st, 2025. And on April 2nd, I received the documentation that was required. Since our council meeting for the Committee of the Whole was already April 2nd, it was too late to bring it at that meeting. So this is the only meeting we could bring it to, and it has to be back to them by April 30th of 2025 in order to receive this money. So as the host municipality, we have added an additional member to the SMART, and that was Grey Highlands, but it did not matter because the 2024-25 allocation is identical to last year, regardless of ridership, population, whatnot. It was their decision that the funding needed to go out, obviously in a timely manner. So they've just kept the same for every transit area, regardless of what happened. So once we pass the bylaw and the Schedule A agreement, then we can start receiving the monies. We should be receiving 75% of that money within the month after we sign that. So hopefully in May or June, they receive some of that money. SMART is funded obviously through provincial gas tax, our municipal contributions and user fees. Provincial funding is the largest portion of the revenue for SMART, and it's vital to sustainability. And then the town is currently the largest municipal contributor to SMART, and we will be contributing $150,524.57 in 2025, which represents about 19% of the total municipal contributions. The link to the strategic plan is a healthy and welcoming community, as well as open and responsible government. So the recommendation is that this report, DCS 0525, provincial gas tax allocation for public transit, be received, and that the mayor and CAO be authorized to complete the letter of agreement with the Ministry of Transportation as the host municipality for the Saugeen Mobility and Regional Transit for the public transit provincial gas tax allocation as detailed in this report, and that council approve bylaw 3332-25 to enter into this letter of agreement with the Ministry of Transportation later in the bylaw section.
Thanks, Chris. Any questions, comments? Deputy Mayor Dickard.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Chris, for the report. I just want to comment that, as a delegation, when we met with the ministry back at, was it AMO or ROMA, one of those conferences, this is really what we asked for, was that they didn't adjust the funding because when COVID hit, ridership went down and we were concerned that we'd be getting less funding. So the fact that they've kept it the same is actually good because we haven't totally recovered on our ridership size yet, so on the side of the calculation. So this is really, it's good news, and certainly pleased to see that they've kept it the same, and hopefully by next year when they come up with a new formula or whatever, we'll be able to get even more, but it is good news. So thank you.
Very good. Councillor Sacco.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks, Chris, for the report. Can you remind me, Chris, with Hanover being the largest contributor to SMART, is that because of our size or our usage? What is it, please?
It's based on mostly the ridership. We have the highest ridership. Our population isn't the largest because it's 30% population, 70% ridership.
Okay, I don't see any hands raised. I'll call the question. All in favor of DCS 0525. That is carried. Item 10 is committees of council minutes, and we have 4 sets of minutes along with some subcommittee minutes, and we have one motion to cover this. So I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Cable and Councillor Sacco. So the first one, 10.1, is the Joint Health and Safety Committee minutes from March the 6th. And Sherry, you're going to highlight those.
I am. Thank you. Melissa was unable to be here this evening. So the Joint Health and Safety Committee met on March 6, 2025. A few of the highlights include the confined space program. They've received draft confined space hazard assessments, entry permits, and response plans. They reviewed monthly inspections and corrective actions. Those are our monthly building inspections. They also reviewed incident reports. Those are the employee incident reports, and noted efforts to provide personal wellness and education to our pool staff with respect to nutrition and hydration to prevent feeling of faint when on the pool deck. They also noted Ministry of Labor field reports received, as well as the committee's follow-up information regarding slip, trip, and fall safety, and a bulletin that was recently issued after the committee's review. And they also reviewed a number of updates to various policies and guidelines, including our health and safety program guide, our health and safety responsibilities, as well as the Parks, Recreation, and Culture's standard operating guideline with respect to a person with a lethal weapon. As a result, as a directive of the Joint Health and Safety Committee, they've developed some templates with respect to emergency procedures, and each department is, or site specific, is to be developing various emergency plans accordingly. So this is an example of that. Those are some of the highlights. If there's any questions, I will try to answer them. And if not, I will get back to you once I've had a chance to speak with Melissa.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Sacco.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to comment, Sherry, I'm really happy about the bylaw officer being suggested that he has a kit available in emergency situations. He's on that road all the time, and I'm sure he sees a lot in his daily duties. So I think that's a great idea.
Okay, I am moving on. 10.2 is the Hanover Walkerton Waste Management Committee minutes. Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship. At the meeting, we compared our tipping fees, our commercial tipping fees with neighboring sites. The average rate for the 10 comparators is $135.50 per ton, and we are at $145. The range goes from a low of 125 to a high of 145. So we are certainly in line with some comparators, but at the high end. Committee approved the acceptance of the tender from Moorfield Excavation for the construction of Cell 3. At a tender price of just shy of $2 million, which is about $500,000 less than projected. So that is great news. The municipality of Brockton has tendered for their 2026 curbside collection, which includes a provision for green bin collection for Walkerton residents only. Brockton requires a local site to store the sealed collection bin and has requested that the Hanover Walkerton landfill site be considered as a potential spot for that. The large sealed collection bin would not be accessible to residents for disposal of their food waste when visiting the landfill site. And this request is being investigated, and further details will be forthcoming. Our household hazardous waste event for 2025 will be on October 18th, and the location will be the Works Yard on 14th Ave. When it comes to year-to-date volumes, Hanover curbside collection is up 7.9% and Walkerton is down 3.14%. Over the scale residential, Hanover is down 18.5 and Walkerton is down 14.7. And year-to-date total receivables at the site is down 1.41% versus 2024. We do continue to have concerns with food and pet waste showing up in the compost area, so they're monitoring that and trying to correct that behavior as we speak. But just so that the public is aware, that is not what it's for. It's for compost only, and we need to keep that area clean of those other forms of waste. So that's my report.
Any questions? Councillor Sacco.
Thank you, Your Worship. Deputy Mayor, I have a question about the commercial rates for Hanover. The town's non-sorted rate is double the amount of the sorted rate and is in place as a deterrent of repeat occurrences. So our household is separating our recyclables. The truck comes, but it appears that both bins are placed in the same spot in the truck. Is that what is supposed to happen? Or should there be two spots in that truck?
Recyclables are collected separately from waste. There's two different vehicles travel the streets. So the waste.
I'm thinking strictly of the recyclables themselves, not the waste. So I'm separating in two bins and it's going into one. So I'm asking, why am I separating if it's going into one truck?
The recycle vehicle that collects takes that material to their facility, which I believe is in Mount Forest, and they actually sort it there for you. The recycling materials that you take to our landfill site are sorted separately. You put cardboard in one, you put plastic film in another, you put aluminum and glass in another. So it's two different, even though it's the same company doing it, the truck that's going around is what they call mixed recycling, and they actually sort it at their site. If you're putting it out, you don't have to do that. The other thing is that process has now been taken over by the producers, so the town doesn't really control that anymore. The site out at the landfill site is still run by the town, but the actual vehicle collecting it is producer run. And I know that I'm sure there's been some calls into the office here with some of those changes, but that the process hasn't changed. It's a mixed recycling that the trucks pick up versus sorted when you go to the landfill site.
Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So on that same vein of thought, do we have the same recycling company as Municipality of Brockton of the Walkerton? Because their trucks actually do separate on the trucks. So I'm just wondering if we're the same company or what options there maybe are for that. Because I have seen them do, their cardboard goes in this section and their plastics go in this, and then maybe they all get pulled in together. I don't know.
The Brockton, Bruce County has Blue Water, Basra, I think they call it Blue Water Area Solid Waste Recycling. So it's a different company where we use waste management. Yes.
And again, recycling is changing, right? Like we're in that transition year, right? So where it's producer responsibility. And so waste management has that, it's Circular Materials who is our contact. And so when there is concerns with recycling, again, we went through that process where individuals, but yeah, Bruce County is definitely different than what we are. And our contact now is with Circular Materials, and they have contracted waste management accordingly to pick up the recycling.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, just to add, like when the landfill committee meets, that really has nothing to do with curbside collection either. That's a separate, that's something we decide around this table versus what happens at the landfill site.
A tangled web we weave. I can say that over the years, I've had conversations about the recycling and the same thing with the different, cardboard, boxboard, whatever. And coming from Public Works, I've been told it's harder to get people to change. Like if you were just to dump everything in one bucket and then a year from now say, now you got to start separating, it's harder to get people to start back. So if you just keep separating, it's good. Probably helps them, Right. So, okay, very good. 10.3 Parks, Recreation and Culture Advisory Committee meeting minutes. Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Parks, Recreation and Culture Advisory Committee met on March the 26th. We began the meeting with a presentation from Steve Westman and Len Weber of the Hanover Tennis and Pickleball Club. The club has experienced significant growth over the past few years with 280 members in 2024. They offer an early bird rate of $90 for the season until May the 1st, and registration is processed through the Parks and Recreation Department. Interesting to note, the largest growth that they've seen is in the 20 to 30-year-old category, although 80% of their membership is still 50 plus. When describing their challenges, it was noted that capital expenses place a financial burden on the membership. The club has funded over $70,000 in capital projects over the past 2 years, with additional projects including resurfacing of the pickleball courts and LED light conversions on the horizon. For anyone interested in joining the club, they are hosting a free Try It Day on May the 5th with 4 weeks of beginner lessons to follow. Following our presentation, we then had an update on the splash pad, which we know is coming along well at Hanover Park, and I'm sure that Councillor Hawking will provide an update in our next set of minutes. There was a Trail Eyes and Ears session for Trail Eyes and Ears volunteers, so it's great to see that that program is continuing this year, having volunteers who are out keeping an eye on our community trail system. And so PRC staff and Chief Knoll provided an update and a presentation related to trail safety, encampments, the East End Trail development, and new signage, which is coming this year. We had an update on the Ontario Trillium Grant, and so an application has been submitted for the maximum funding amount of $200,000 to help fund conversion of the ball diamond lighting to LED. We also had an update on another grant that's being submitted in order to replace the Kinsman Ballpark Pavilion and to do some LED lighting, and that one is awaiting an estimate from the project engineer. We also had an opportunity to look at a design of the proposed ballpark pavilion, which I believe is referenced further in the minutes. As a note, spring swimming lessons had started on Monday, March the 24th, and you'll see here that lessons are very full, ranging between 89% capacity and 99%. So it's great to see that there's a lot of interest in swimming lessons, and summer swimming lessons are open for registration. Our items for direction, we really focused on two. The first was around the Center of Excellence Park. We know that we're currently working on phase one with the splash pad going in this year. We reviewed two conceptual drawings, which were developed a few years back. And so we looked at option A and option B. The committee provided some comment, including the idea of the outdoor rink being able to move down to Town Park in the future. We also discussed ideas around the skateboard park, having removable features to allow for an outdoor rink, talking about some features of a walking trail that would be going around the park, adult exercise equipment, the idea of adding a volleyball court in that area, and really trying to stress that we need to keep, don't fill the park with features, but make sure there's also open space there. As previously noted, we did review the blueprints for the Binkley Patterson Pavilion at Kinsman Ballpark. So they're essentially looking to bring that up to road level, so that would help with the sewer. And there's a lot of storage built in to help with some of our needs there. I think that's an overview of our meeting. If there's any questions or comments, myself or Councillor Hudson would be pleased to answer.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? Councillor Sacco.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have lots of questions tonight. Councillor Cable, would you please comment on other business 1.1? Could you tell me more about committee member inquired about trail maintenance during the winter for cross-country skiing? Where did that discussion?
So at the end of all of our meetings, we do have an eyes and ears section. And so committee members can bring forward questions or comments or wonderings or things that they've heard. So one of the committee members was inquiring about whether the town would be open to doing trail maintenance during the winter. We know that currently our trails are kind of marked as being closed, and we know that they are used. The question was around, could we maintain them for cross-country skiing? And I believe at this point in time, we don't have the ability to do that from a staffing perspective, but also from the operational unit that you would need in order to groom the trails. I don't know if Sherry, if there's anything else you want to add.
Just to say that's correct. We don't have the equipment. You need specific trail grooming equipment to groom it specifically for cross-country skiing. And you need that unit, plus then you need a unit to pull that groomer as such. So, and we had looked into, I think we had looked at even clearing of the trails quite some time ago, because again, we had an individual or residents who had inquired about clearing the trails, and we got a price. It was significant accordingly, because we don't have the equipment or the staff power to be able to do that in the wintertime, nor do we have the ability to effectively control that whole risk piece around slips and trips and falls in the wintertime accordingly.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm asking because, of course, Probus has both cross-country skiing and snowshoeing, and we're traveling a distance. It would be lovely to do it here, but I certainly understand all of your reasons for not doing so, at least at this time, until someone wants to give us a great deal of money. Thank you.
Okay. Splash Pad Development Committee minutes. Councillor Hawking.
Thank you, Your Worship. I had to regretfully miss that meeting, but the minutes focused on site signage, and I know that we've reached all our donors now, and we've got that done for proper edification. I've seen this, but I can't reference it. The grand opening planning, I'm going to ask Sherry. I read somewhere we're going to coordinate it with Canada Day, even though the minutes talk about June the 7th or the 21st. Can you clarify that, please?
I can. That's my understanding, that the grand opening is going to be held on July 1st, and that Canada Day celebrations will be relocated to Hanover Park from Heritage Square. So again, I would say that's the draft plan, correct? I would watch for more confirmed details.
Thank you, Sherry. I'd just like to give you an update. I'm really pleased with the donations that are coming in. And as you know, the council challenged the committee to raise $300,000. And as of yesterday, we have $398,709.50. So we are $1,291 short of 400,000. So again, thanks to everyone in the community who stepped up, give us a donation. And as you drive down County Lane by the park, County Line, excuse me, you just, if you're going north, look to the west and you'll see lots of activity going on there. They are under the, construction, and I believe we'll have it up and running by Canada Day. So it's going to be a great day. So thanks again to everyone. And I'm open to any questions. And if I can't answer them, Sherry can.
Thank you. I don't see any hands raised, so we'll move on. 10.4 is the Age Friendly Advisory Committee minutes. Councillor Fleet.
Thank you, Your Worship. Age Friendly met on March 17th. I'll just go over some of the highlights. 4.1 Grey Highlands Age Friendly Senior Health Fair will be held on June 12th in Flesherton. We discussed age friendly articles in the Post. The Senior Star has gone out. I'm sure everybody's received it. Senior Games actually started, I think, this week, so they're up and running. Brandon, give us an update on grants. We have had no real update. Approval on hold. So hopefully we'll hear something soon. And we're gearing up for our volunteer fair in partnership with the Hanover Public Library. The volunteer fair will run on June 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. on the P&H Center floor. Brandon Dobbs has sent out invitations to nonprofit organizations to see if they would like to register for the fair. Business recognition programs, we're back knocking doors, seeing if we can find some people that are interested. Other business, 11.7, committee members expressed some concern about the access to downtown for seniors due to the amount of snow we had this year. 11.8, committee members inquired if there are any actions that count to take to remind local business of approaching deadline for compliance with the Accessibility of Ontario with the Disabilities Act requirements. And committee members suggested considering an article in the paper to raise awareness about the ongoing issues of scams, particularly those affecting seniors. And that's all I have to report from Age Friendly. I'd take any questions.
Thank you. I don't see any hands raised. So that is the final set of minutes. The motion is moved by Councillor Cable, seconded by Councillor Sackel, and it is to receive the information and approve the recommendations contained in the minutes that were just highlighted. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So next is item 11, our bylaws. And we have two bylaws. I need a mover and seconder before I ask the clerk to give the intent. I'll take Councillor Hocking and Deputy Mayor Dickert. Vicky?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you. Bylaw 3331-25 is a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the March 17th, 2025 council meeting and the March 17th and April 8th, 2025 special council meetings. Bylaw 3332-25 is a bylaw to authorize signing of a provincial gas tax allocation agreement with the Ministry of Transportation.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Hocking, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dickert, that bylaw numbers 3331-25 and 3332-25 be introduced and that they be taken as read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and inserted in the bylaw book. Is there any further comments, discussions, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. We do not have any correspondence requiring action, so we will move on to item 13, reports and correspondence for information. 13.1, Deputy Mayor Dickert, Good Roads Conference report, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And to start, I'd like to thank Grey County Council for giving me the opportunity to attend this year's Good Roads Conference. There's always something to learn and a great opportunity to network with other people across the province who share our challenges and looking for solutions. As you may expect, there was a lot of talk about tariffs and the impact on municipal governments. As we know, that is a moving target. One of the speakers talked about, called it vehicle bloat. And over 80% of vehicles in North America are now SUVs or pickups. Fatality rate is 7 times higher when smaller vehicles collide with SUVs or pickups. They're also much more deadly to pedestrians as they tend to cause upper body injuries versus lower body injuries. 10% vehicle weight increases 44% more, or there's a 10%, sorry, a 10% vehicle rate increases 44% more road damage. So certainly something when we're looking at our asset management plan. Bigger vehicles reduce throughput. They take up more highway, so less vehicles can be on the road, and they reduce parking by 9 to 15%. And the thought is what's moving people to those vehicles is typically self-preservation and personal safety, because people feel safer driving bigger, heavier vehicles. There was a presentation on the Deep Geological Repository in Ignis. This is long-term storage only. The short-term is on site, so Bruce Power and others will continue to store nuclear waste on their sites as long as they operate. There's currently 6 sites producing nuclear waste across Canada, which will be hauled to Ignis. It's 2043 for the start of operations, and it will take 50 years to transport all the waste to that site based on current calculations. As far as U.S. and Canada relationships, there was a panel discussion. We had a really extreme panel there. There was 3 people on the panel. One was Chad Richards. He's a partner at Crestview Strategy. Another was Allison Story. She's a counselor from Chatham, Kent. Her region enjoys a very good U.S. relationship, but is also very dependent on it. Jack Klein is a U.S. resident and a federal lobbyist for Northeastern University. You know, his position is Mr. Trump is trying to keep all countries off balance. None of this is a surprise. There's more challenges to come. Nothing is under control, and we should anticipate a lot of challenges in the next 18 to 20 months. And he was the good news guy on the panel. So what municipalities should do, again, these are just opinions from the panelists. They should track in total what the tariff war is costing us. He says the feds and the province have mismanaged that relationship, so they owe us money if this does cost us money down the road. You know, they've talking about being ready to cut 30% of staff, 30% of budget. He did say the ad program that is targeting the U.S. public is working. They're getting that message through to the residents. As far as closing thoughts, Mr. Klein thinks that we are heard in Washington. He feels the allied relationship is strong. Another one made the point that trade relationships and friends are two very different things, and don't get them mixed up. We need to be aware of non-intended consequences of counter tariffs and need to look at budget restraint at all levels of government. I sat through a session on pavement preservation. It was presented by the International Slurry Surfacing Association. Pavement preservation practices fit with and support our asset management plan. $2 in preservation saves 18 to $20 for future reconstruction. They're adding fiberglass and fabric to the resurfacing materials that does not deter the ability to recycle those products. Ontario seems to be a bit behind in sealing innovation compared to US and other provinces. There was also a session by a gentleman named Wes Marshall. His topic was killed by a traffic engineer. And he said, the problem is roads are built for cars. Bigger roads cause poor driving habits. The concept of space around the vehicle creates a false sense of safety. People behave very differently on hazardous roads. And I think we can all experience that when you're on a stormy day and the roads are bad. You pay a lot more attention. Safety is often not considered in level of service decisions. You can't manage what you don't measure. Crashes are caused by human choice and error. Research suggests scare tactics don't work. Sidewalks are a key to safety. More public transit equals safer roads. And self-driving vehicles are safer except at dark, dusk, and when turning. So there's lots of opportunities there yet. As far as advancing transportation equity, there was a couple gentlemen there from the region of Waterloo. Transit equity should include multi-options, walking, biking, cars, public transit. Again, that concept that the road is not just for cars, it is for all the other people that want to use it. Waterloo region actually has an income-based fee structure for their transit because they handle the community service side of things. They have access to those types of records, so they do have the ability to adjust transit fees for those in need. There are now 44 roundabouts in Kitchener-Waterloo, and collisions are down 51%. Pedestrian safety continues to be a challenge at roundabouts. They have 65 kilometers of cycling lanes. At one point in time, not that long ago, 8% of the people were using bikes as their prime transport. It's up to 2.3%. So certainly a growing trend in the bicycling community. He also made the point that asset management should not be about who makes the best presentation. It should be about what the needs are for the roads and the public. In urban transit, you might recover 40 cents on the dollar invested, whereas when you're trying to run a rural transit system, you'll be doing well to recover 5 cents on the dollar. Automated speed and stopping enforcement gives a non-prejudicial approach to enforcement. And the last speaker I'll touch on was Blake Hutchison, who oversees the OMERS pension plan. Again, Mr. Trump came into that discussion where he's saying he uses extremes, and this gentleman actually has done business. He is a real estate person and has some personal experience dealing with President Trump. OMERS expects to be able to manage the tariff challenges with limited impact, as only 20% of their investment is in equities, and that is where the most vulnerable part of their portfolio lies. OMERS is actually worth $140 billion today, and 1 in 11 Ontario households are touched by OMERS. Currently, they are right around the 100% fully funded, which is good news for us as municipalities that have to support the program. They also own 50% of Bruce Power. And a couple of things he said, never lose the ability to trust and give freely, leave the campsite better than you found it, and there will be tough times. The last thing I want to touch on, it's my pleasure to recognize that Ron Cooper received recognition for 29 years of service from AORS, which is the Association of Ontario Road Superintendents at the conference. Just want to say my congratulations to Ron on an exceptional career and thank him for his exemplary service. And he's not with us tonight, but I'm sure that message will get to him.
Very good. Any discussion, comments? Councillor Hawking.
I just want to say thank you to Deputy Mayor Dickert for the comprehensive report. I found it very, very interesting. And I also want to indicate it was very appropriate that Ron be recognized at this event. He deserves a sincere thank you from everyone. So that was great to see. So thanks again for the report, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, item 13.2, this is correspondence from the municipality of Brockton regarding the Hanover-Walkerton landfill agreement. They are noting with appreciation for the reduction to the capital costs related to the cell 3 expansion, yet remain concerned about their share of capital costs under the agreement. 13.3 is correspondence from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing with, again, the government intends to expand strong mayor powers to, I believe it's 169 municipalities, and there will be a report coming back from staff with how to move forward with this, whether we have options or not. I'm not quite sure whether you can opt out of that, but we'll see. Staff will investigate. 13.4, this is correspondence from the Blue Water District School Board. They have adopted an administrative procedure for holding zones and holding schools. It establishes formal guidelines and procedures to accommodate students moving into newly constructed homes within the schools, the school board's jurisdiction. So they are asking that when a plan of subdivision occurs, that the municipality include a clause to advise the developer that when they are selling homes, that people moving in with children, their children may not be attending the school within a close area. They could be wherever they have spaces, I believe. So, because they're running into issues where some have more children and others have less. So, comments? Councillor Sacco?
Thank you, Worship. I do have concerns about that for the town of Hanover, but I'm not sure that this is going to affect us or not, at least not at the present time. I tried calling all 3 of those Blue Water schools today, left a message on the principal's answering machines, but none of them got back to me in time for tonight's meeting. So I don't know if we're at peril or not, but it could be very frustrating for some parents. It could hurt us with the housing, you know, the limited housing that we have. And I'm not sure why they're targeting new subdivisions. Shouldn't families, new families coming into, let's say, an older subdivision still be in the same situation? If they have a child that wants to go, but that is a holding school, they're going to have to go elsewhere, or will they be treated the same as the student who's coming from a new subdivision? I wasn't clear on that, and I wasn't able to get those answers. So that's all I can say.
So maybe if you do get those answers, you can share that with us at our next meeting. Councillor Cable?
Thank you, Your Worship. I also wonder if, are we automatically adding this specific wording into development agreements, or is it going to be reviewed by staff?
So the request is that we have a clause in agreements that notes this accordingly. So what that wording, again, it's our agreement, right? We would just have to indicate, we would have to include agreement that's agreeable to us, but I don't see why we wouldn't include this, because I think that's only prudent that we make sure that those individuals moving into those subdivisions have that. You have to remember that this is that the developer informs them. We've certainly experienced other situations where there's things in development agreements where maybe it's not the developer who's building the house, right? So there's a couple different players involved accordingly. And it's just making sure that, like, we're not following up, did XYZ person tell that person who just bought that house these things about the development in that subdivision? We don't necessarily follow up on each individual thing. We tend to deal with when we hear complaints about certain things, they weren't aware of something.
Thank you. And you can tell me if I have a conflict in my statement, but I just wonder if, in addition to this, whether there is a place to connect with the other school board that which exists in our county to see if there's a similar policy or whether there's a line to be added just to give consideration to this might not apply to all schools within the town of Hanover.
We can do that. It's a communication tool, trying to get that information to anyone moving into the area, thinking that, oh, there's a brand new school, my children are going to go there, which if they're at capacity, might be a couple of years before they get there, right? So, Councillor Hawking.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is to Councillor Sackel. Thank you for taking the leadership role. I would suggest that you contact Andrew Lowe, Superintendent of Business, because day school principals are probably just going to say, call, and then you get the sort of the county perspective rather than individual schools. Another thing is schools know their projections in June, and they could help facilitate this with information to us, indicating at the point of time what they expect their projections are as of September, whatever the date is they start. So I don't see why we couldn't get that information from either centrally from the Blue Water Board or from individual principals. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
I think we could have staff, as in Andrew, look into this a bit further. And it is not our role to enforce this, but it is the communication tool. The school board doesn't have any access to get to these new homes, or I shouldn't say always new homes, but homes in subdivisions that people are moving into. That is one way of reaching them. So, but maybe Andrew can do some further investigation, and then with Councillor Sackel, we'll have more info.
So
Go ahead.
just to be clear, then you don't want me to contact Andrew? Our Andrew can contact their Andrew.
I think it would be good to listen to what
Thank
the
you.
schools have, you left a message.
Sure, I did leave a message. Thank you.
Let's find out what they say. Thank you. 13.5 is from the correspondence from the Grey County Planning and Development Department regarding official plan amendment 23. They're stating that it was adopted by Grey County Council at its April 10th, 2025 session. And they're wondering or asking if there are any appeals from any individuals or anyone within the 20-day appeal period. Ends on May 1st. So if anyone listening wants to appeal, they have until May 1st. So that's just for information. 13.6 is for our company program. It is promoting that you can apply to this in 2025, and successful applicants are eligible for a $3,000 business support grant. So if anyone's interested, Grey County website, and you can just type in summer company. 13.7 is the Grey County Council and Committee of the Whole highlights. It's my turn to highlight this time. The county is contributing its share to West Grey for, let me step back. This is from meetings, Grey County met on April 10th. So it's in the past month. So the county is contributing its share to West Grey for new underground stormwater infrastructure for the new Rockwood Terrace long-term care home in Durham. West Grey is also contributing their share too. So no different than what happens in our community. A notice of motion to declare March 24th as Agnes MacPhail Day was presented. Agnes MacPhail was a Canadian politician and the first woman elected to Canada's House of Commons. Council was not in favor of making a formal proclamation, but spoke highly about her legacy. Awareness of her accomplishments is being promoted through Grey Roots Museum, social media, in schools, and they are going to publish children's books about it. So that's good. Council approved the replacement of a damaged end-of-life sand dome with a new structure to be constructed in Chatsworth. And council also passed a motion to form a joint municipal services task force, and it could investigate services such as climate change, waste management, affordable housing, mutual assistance for support with various departments. And I believe that meeting or that committee is going to meet quarterly or as required. Item 14 is Councillor Hawking, sorry, I knew I should have asked.
That's okay. I just want to indicate my disappointment that County Council didn't recognize Agnes MacPhail Day. She is a hero as far as I am concerned and other people for being the first woman MP or female MP in the federal government. And I disagree with Councillor Brian Milne, who said, well, if we give it to this person, how do we stop from giving it to other people? I think Agnes's contribution to the entire support for women in governments should be recognized. And I just wanted to say this publicly. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments? Grey County was following policy on that one, but policies can be changed. Item 14.
Sorry, my apology. I didn't know there was a policy. Okay. Well, anyway, change the policy. Okay.
It's similar. We also have a policy here, right? So,
sorry to carry this up, but how many proclamations have been made from Grey County? Is there any been, or is the policy just says nobody gets it?
they rely on lower tier municipalities
Oh,
to follow their own policy,
right.
right?
So the municipality in Flesherton or can do it.
Grey Highlands.
Grey Highlands, yeah, thanks.
Actually, any municipality could do that. But there would have to be a request, either come from a council member, or yeah, someone bring it forward. We could for next year. Okay, item 14 is councillor and staff updates, although I call it good news and celebration. And Councillor Hawking was not at the last meeting, so we started with Councillor Hudson, but I'll go back to Councillor Hawking. You have first opportunity to highlight any good news and celebrations.
Actually, I'm just getting over a lot of jet lag, and I did on Saturday. I attended the Zimbabwe pancake breakfast, and I was deeply interested because I traveled in that country, and I got to talk to Barry Mutry, who is the coordinator of the event, and I asked him how far their school was from Victoria Falls, because I saw Victoria Falls, and is 12 hours. So, but I did get more information, and I got to sit with some people over pancakes, and of course, the discussion was the federal election, and it was very good. So thanks. I think he's affiliated with the Hope Church. They put that on, so that's probably I'm going to go to the play this weekend. What else? Been pretty scant, so I think I'll just be quiet because I've talked too long already.
Thank you, Councillor Hocking. Anyone else? Councillor Fleet.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to shout out to the Hanover Barons who won our Pollock Division and the North Conference Championship. They're moving on to the semifinals against Napanee. And just a thank you to all the staff, the volunteers, coaching staff. They've did Hanover proud this year. Even our good mayor's been taking in some of the games, and she even knows what an offside is. So it's nice to see her out to some of these games, and see the crowds. The arena's just packed, so that's really great. And a shout out to the Hanover Rotary Club for the Easter egg hunt. It was well put on, and it was great seeing everyone out enjoying the day. And that's all I have to say.
So I am a new hockey fan, learning at this stage in life. I'm asking a lot of questions about hockey and what is offside and icing and why didn't they finish that penalty and stuff. And actually, it's Councillor Fleet's wife who's been helping me through this. And an individual on the other side who I keep saying, why, but it's been very good. And I am, I want to say really proud when you see the P&H Arena at capacity. Like, oh my goodness, if you want to see a full place and it just runs real smooth. Everybody's doing their job, people are good, and the games are good too. So, okay, who's next? Councillor Hudson.
I just wanted to thank the organizers of the staff fire hall tour that was on last Thursday on April the 17th. It was great to get into the finished building and listen to how proudly Chief Deniger and Deputy Chief O'Hagan talked about all of the things that they have implemented in there, all the training and all of the hours that they spent trying to figure out really great training stations that will be utilized for a long time. It's a wonderful facility, and if anyone has an opportunity to, in fact, go on May the 10th from the community to see it, it is well worth it, and it'll just make your heart feel real warm and fuzzy.
Yes, May the 10th at 10 a.m., 10 at 10. So, yes. Councillor Sackle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I had the opportunity to attend the Grey Bruce Singers spring production of Don't Stop Believing, and it was a lot of fun, filled with energy and laughter, and I thought they did a fantastic job. I also want to let the listening audience know that the Youth Unlimited annual fish fry is happening this Friday at Hope Community Church. It's going to be a takeout or an eat-in, and if you go to their Facebook page, you can get more information with regard to that.
Very good. Anyone else? Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Hanover Bentinck and Brant Agricultural Society met last week. This really is a tremendous volunteer organization that's operating a major economic driver in our community. They are very excited that racing is returning to Hanover Raceway on Saturday, May the 31st. And renovations continue and are on track for the Raceway office to be completed prior to race day. So they're very excited for that to be completed. Drywall is in, and they're moving on to the next stages of that aspect. Of course, the community hall continues to be under renovation, and they're hoping that that will open later this year.
Okay, so I'll ask staff.
I was gonna mention Firehouse, so we're good.
Oh, okay, we're good. Okay, moving on. Item 15 is planning and other meetings. They're all listed on this agenda and of course on the website. Dates to remember and announcements. Next committee of the whole meeting is Monday, May 5th, and the next regular council meeting is Tuesday, May 20th. And at this time, I will ask if there's any notices of motion. Seeing none, we do have a closed meeting. And it is recommended that the Council of the Town of Hanover meet in closed session in order to address a matter pertaining to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board related to development lands. I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Hudson and Councillor Sackle, all in favor. That is carried.